really felt such a kinship with Gummigoo. I just really adored him. The thing that I found the most compelling about Gummigoo was his humanity. So I thought that we would go through Gummigoo and his own existential dread, because I think that the psychology of that is something that many of us go through, at least at one point in our life. So let's take a look at Gummigoo and a little bit of his journey.
Lads? Hello? Anyone?
I think that any of us would have an anxiety response when everything around you isn't what you thought that it was. It causes this shock value. And for Gummigoo, it is his own reality, who he is, what is his meaning. But I think that for a lot of us, we end up with this feeling of existential dread. And that can happen at any time when we're dealing with life changes, when we're dealing with what we want to be, when we have to make changes in our life that we didn't expect to have to make. And that kind of brings all of these thoughts of our meaning and what is the purpose of the world around us? What brings meaning to our life and why are we here? So even though Gummigoo has a very specific situation, I think that this is something that is very common. Those feelings of existential dread, of feeling so small in this huge world, this picture, can cause full-blown panic attacks.
Huh?
Where are we? What's all this?
A lot of times existential dread comes from questions that don't have any real good answers, or ones that you're not ready to grasp yet because it is an unsolvable problem or an area that is unknown or one that you feel trapped in. That causes us to have this feeling of fight or flight. And when you can't solve the problem, especially for people that are natural problem solvers, that causes them to spin, where they want to get answers, but there are no good answers to get.
I don't know. We're somewhere under the map, I think.
Map? Why aren't you or any of your crew up here?
I think that for Gummigoo, and for all of us that are going through this, it's the good part is that he has someone else to be able to talk to be able to run through these questions with. But a lot of times, these type of questions happen when we're alone. They don't actually occur when there are people around because we're too busy to think of other things. So these are kind of things that would happen when we're alone, at night, when there are no distractions, when we have moments to be able to be left alone with our mind, which can be a good thing if your mind is being kind to you, but can be a really difficult thing if you're going through a trauma, a stress, depression, or one of these life changes.
Because we are not, NPCs?
NPCs? What are you on about? What are you people? What am I?
And that's that question of what am I? It's a question that we often ask. And sometimes it's not just what am I, but what is my purpose? Why am I here? What does any of this actually matter? Not having answers to these questions can cause an anxiety that will keep on building upon itself. Because the more that you cycle, we often believe that we can think our way out of an anxiety, but the part of our brain that deals with that actually can only cycle us usually deeper into it. And that's why I would say this is the time to either speak to someone that you find is soothing or to be able to journal it out yourself. What is the question, which slows down your mind, and writing things down, and I actually mean writing them down, like, yes, with a pen and paper, old school way, because that slows everything down and then you can look at it analytically, and that starts to engage the cognitive part of your mind. And then you would want to answer those questions. What gives meaning to you? What matters to you? And it doesn't have to be the perfect answer. There often aren't perfect answers, but the good enough answer and one that you believe is true. These black and white kind of just like, oh, the world is like, unicorns and rainbows and all of these wonderful things, if you like unicorns and rainbows. That's not going to be good enough. It has to be something that matters to you and is based in your own reality of your belief system. So that's another piece when you're journaling it out to give an answer that is gonna stick. Stick not just for your cognitive mind, but also for the limbic one that's worried in the first place.
Where's Mum?
You have a mom?
Shouldn't she be here with everyone else?
part that was so heartbreaking was Gummigoo cares so much about his mom. He's programmed to do that. And that feeling of that still matters to him. He, to me, seems like one of the most human characters that is not a human character. And I think that's why his journey for me is so much more heartbreaking, because I can really relate to those feelings, those worries, those questions.
I can't even remember her face. Did she ever have a face? Was anything ever real?
Okay, wait, don't think.
And that can often happen with huge life changes, losses of jobs, relationships, death, even moving to a new place or changing to a new way of living your life. You can often look back and want to reflect on what mattered, what didn't matter, what was real and what wasn't real, and we want to kind of hold on to that. Because sometimes something happens that shakes up your entire relationship with yourself, of who you are, and with everyone else around you. That doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. Often that kind of a transition can make you into a better, stronger person. But we don't like change. Change comes with a whole bunch of risk. So often we can hold on to old pieces of the past that we need to let go of in order to grow and become a better version of ourselves.
Think there must be a way to launch ourselves back up, right?
And that hyperventilating, that panic attack, is a really common response when you're going into fight or flight. Your body is getting ready for danger. And unfortunately, and fortunately, our brain doesn't really know the difference between emotional danger and physical danger. And it gives one answer for every single anxiety that you have, which is to go into fight or flight, to get ready to have to battle. And that's what Gummigoo is doing, so that if he has to run or fight something, he'll be more prepared. So going through an anxiety response is not actually a weakness. Often people look at it like that. It's actually a really beneficial trait to be able to do if you're actually going to be in danger. And if you're not, you want to be able to help calm yourself down, ground yourself, and not running through that cycle, that record in your head that this is danger, this is horrible, this is going to be bad. The more that you do that, the more that you're filling up your anxiety cup, which is going to eventually cause a panic attack.
You okay?
No.
You want to talk about it?
What is there to talk about? I don't matter in the slightest. I'm nothing. My life, my memories, my friends. It's all fake.
And that's a really difficult situation for Pomni to be in. She wants to be able to comfort Gummigoo, but in this case, all of the beliefs, all of the relationships that Gummigoo has are fake. And you don't want to just throw out lies. For someone, especially when they're under distress, they're just going to dismiss all of that, and then they're actually not going to trust the next things that you say. So the next statements that Pomni makes are really important. They have to be based in truth, but she also wants them to be soothing. So you can think to yourself, what would you do, or what would you say to be able to best comfort Gummigoo that would be based in reality and comforting at the same time?
I think I know the feeling. Feeling like you're nothing is kind of normal. I mean, people even feel like that in the world I came from. But you still care about your buddies up there, don't you?
I like that she grasps hold of something that is true for Gummigoo, the care that he has for the people that are around him. But it's a really difficult balance, especially when you say, I know how you're feeling. That for some people can be something that immediately makes you want to push them away, because they feel like then the gravity of their pain doesn't really matter because someone else is trying to share it. And for other people with different personality types, they'll actually feel comforted by that because they're not alone or not looked down upon or not judged. So your reaction to that would be very different depending on your personality type.
I'm sure they still care about you.
What does it matter? What do we have when you people leave?
That goes to the meaning of life and what we're here. Whereas the meaning of life is what you make of it. It's what you bring to that. And I think that that's what Pomni is trying to say, is that because you care, because this matters to you, it matters. You choose what are the things that are important to you, not just through your words, but through your actions. And that shows what are the things that are grounded in your reality.
Maybe you could be somebody real there.
Why are you trying to cheer me up?
And I think that that's something that matters to so many of us. To be something real to someone else, to matter to someone. That feeling of, at least I'm not going to be forgotten. And that's often one of the things that people have when that feeling of loneliness, or what are they going to do in this world to leave their mark. And I think that for Gummigoo, it really matters that this is genuine, that she actually wants this for herself, that he's not just some charity case, or she's not just doing this to make herself feel better or because of sympathy. A lot of people, especially with Gummigoo's kind of tough outer coating, don't want to be able to have people's sympathy or to be able to be looked down upon. They would probably rather just be alone.
I don't want anybody to feel like that.
But I'm not even a real person. Would I even belong?
I'm sure you wouldn't belong any less than me. And I could use a friend.
A friend?
And that switch of the way that Pomni said it, not you could use a friend or I could be your friend, but I could use a friend. I think that that switch really made a huge difference in this conversation. That Gummigoo, by being her friend, would be doing a favor for her. And that's part of his makeup. He's there to be able to solve problems, help his mom, be able to do what he has to do to help others. And so that works perfectly into the personality type that he has also, which greatly increases the chances that he's going to accept this offer.
You're a strange little character. Suppose I could give it a try.
And you hear some of that Gummigoo is kind of coming back, that toughness, that here we go, he puts back on his hat and now I can be the hero or the villain to this story to be able to rescue someone. And that is another technique that you can use to remind people of who they are, of what they can do, that they've dealt with worse and been able to survive that, and they'll be able to deal with this also. And sometimes wondering and worrying about the world around you is okay. But that doesn't mean that you want to be swallowed into that existential dread either. It's a place that you want to visit and then pull yourself out of by doing different activities, by staying busy, by giving yourself a purpose and knowing that you matter. And I'll just say it, I know, very therapy, but you have to matter to yourself first. You can't fill that with everyone else or things or money or titles. Like, it feels good in the moment, but in the end you will end up with your bucket still empty.
All I ask is that we don't tell the lads about this. They're a couple of bright-eyed yobbos, and I don't want to drag them down with me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like, how sweet. Like, Gummigoo's just so sweet. Like, there he goes, also trying to protect his friends from having to go through this trauma that he's going through. A lot of people would want to tell everyone because they want to kind of share the trauma, but that would just cause secondary trauma to everyone else that has to go through this also. And so I love his natural protective nature.
What's your name, by the way?
Gummigoo.
Wow, that's just about as dumb as my name.
He's just been through so much, but I guess some lighthearted humor and a little touch of truth at the same time.
So this is the circus, huh? I gotta get used to this.
Oh, looks like one of these guys made it through.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
I know you guys love your NPCs, but if I start losing track of who's a human and who's an NPC...
That was the most heartbreaking scene for me. I didn't really expect it. I was not at all prepared. I think that that's a little bit of sometimes what happens in life, that sometimes the path that you're on is a path that you have to switch without having any warning, and it kind of causes this huge shell shock. So if you are dealing with your own feelings of existential dread, similar to Gummigoo, and it could be a life transition, a life change, changing careers, having to choose what you're going to go into school for. What you want to do is you want to journal everything down. You want to write down the question that happens inside of your head, and then when you feel more calm, not in the spin, you want to be able to answer it. And if you have anyone that you trust or that is a professional in the field, they can be able to give you some answers and some thoughts, and you want to end up making it something that is true to you. Keeping busy, doing other things, being creative, expanding your mind, and that will help your brain cycle through all of these feelings of darkness, negativity, or dread. Because remember, the more that you do something, the better you get at it. Neurons that fire together wire together. One of the wonderful ways to get rid of your existential dread is by expanding your mind and yourself, and you can do that with today's sponsor, Brilliant.org. Learn, enhance, grow with Brilliant's ever-expanding set of new courses. Brilliant makes college-level courses, and they're available to help you be as smart as you can in our digital world. Each course is designed for high-velocity learning to help you stay focused and reach your goals super quick. Brilliant makes learning like a game, with fun features that let you challenge yourself, compete with others, so it never gets boring. Because we know that when learning is boring, it just doesn't happen. Why even do that to you? We might as well make learning fun and engaging, and that makes knowledge stick better, and you will remember it more easily and with less effort. Brilliant has thousands of lessons. They have math, chemistry, physics, engineering, computer science, and so many more, with new courses being added monthly. I've covered their courses on algebra, logic, geometry, and I found them all really engaging. What I love is that Brilliant takes those courses that are so difficult, that are complex, and it breaks them down into all of these wonderful bite-sized pieces, which makes them easy to digest, and I would say fun. So when I practice a new skill, I just do 15 minutes a day. No one can tell me that they don't have 15 minutes a day to expand their mind. In the end, you want to level up your own character, you, by becoming the best you that you can, and Brilliant.org makes that easy. And if you're still not sure, you don't know, well, why don't you just try everything Brilliant has to offer for free? 30 days for free. Head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow or click on the link in the description. And if you want more, you can get 20% off of an annual premium subscription. Click on that button on the screen or head on over to brilliant.org/Georgia Dow. And if you don't want to do it for me, do it for Gummigoo. He's cheering all of you on. Clicking on that button really does help out this channel, so thank you so much, and thank you to brilliant.org. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. And hopefully you like this video on Gummigoo. You can let me know your thoughts in the comments below.